Welcome to the Dr. John Char Holistic Health Show. Today we're going to be talking about natural biofeedback. How many people have been through a therapist that does biofeedback? Bio means life and feedback is the information coming back to you. Well, if you went to a therapist who did biofeedback, normally they're trying to do a measurement of your brain frequencies. And each of these frequencies may tell you some information. For instance, if you had some trouble, or people with bipolar, or people would have emotional problems, they might want to go through biofeedback training. And they'll have a picture of all these different, what we call landscapes or things, and then you try to piece it together. It's like a challenge, and as you put it together, you actually like moving a computer, or you visualizing your brain, and what happens is it'll go through different, what we call frequencies in different sections of your brain in what we call the cortices, the sections in the brain, and it will go into a different vibrational frequencies. And if you get to a frequencies the body doesn't like, you'll go into more hysteria, or you might go into more calm and be more peace. So the technician's looking at the screen, the computer screen, and he say, okay, you're getting excitable. I got to write it down, and I have to keep away from the area because you're getting excited, and I have to put you in a range that is more comfortable for your brain to function, to brain to adapt to in terms of the frequencies. So that's called biofeedback, and there's also called neural, means nerve, feedback. They have either biofeedback or neurofeedback. And they'll put a lot of electrodes on the top of the head. They put on the top of the head, in the front, they call the frontal lobes, in the different sections of what we call the cortex or sections of the brain. They'll put electrode here, electrode there, and it's all hooked up to a computer, which actually gets feedback from the signals coming from the brain, and then it brings it onto the screen where the technicians can monitor you or see, and then be able to adjust that frequencies so which is compatible to your brain, okay? And mark on the areas which you get excited or you get depressed on. And that's called biofeedback. So we're going to be able to try to do things right now. We're going to not try, I'm going to be showing you some of these that we can actually do without an equipment. Okay, the equipment's a feedback that helps monitor you. But you can actually start to doing that. We have some new instruments that's FDA approved. We can, instead of doing a feedback, we actually monitoring these frequencies by challenging your body, by putting these frequencies into your system, and through electrical means. And it goes between the cells and to all different parts of the body, and it picks up what we call this resistance. The body resisted, the cells resisting, and it picks up a certain frequencies. And that frequencies can be representative of different emotional patterns in the body or different things that are dysfunctional in the body. And I'm going to show you right now what it means, what it looks like. Okay, so let's go to our screen here, and we're going to show you the first one called the beta cells. Beta cells. Now, what beta cells do is, you know, in the biofeedback language, it is something that those frequencies keep you up. It's during the day you have beta cells going on. And if you took a reading and you saw it on the computer, it would look like this here. It would look like this area here. See the frequency going up and down like this. But interesting enough, you see right here it says NK ratio. And what is that? Sodium potassium ratio. So it has to do with the energy going into the cells. And it's regulated just like a cell wall, regulated by sodium inside the cell and potassium outside the cell. So that also can affect the water flow, influence of water in your system, or edema, see? Because the more water going into the cells, the bigger the cell gets inside the cells, and then the sodium is affected. And then of course people say, wow, you got too much sodium in there, you watch out your heart, things like that. Then you can get too much water outside of the cell, and that's potassium. And so, oh, you got too much potassium, and that causes a problem with your heart and constriction of your heart and everything else. So that ratio is important. So the frequency here, the beta cell frequency, has a lot to do with the vibration of the cell wall, which affects the potassium and the sodium. Now we're moving over here, and you can see what it means. And this part is called beta, and you know each one has what we call a hertz. Means the measurement of 15 to 30 hertz. As you look into the computer, it will show you that 15 to 30 hertz, and this pattern here, as you see it here, that pattern will be shown on the screen. So now, what does it represent? Awake means you are awake, you're not sleeping. Normal, alert, consciousness, and this propriocephalon is the section where it's resonating in the forehead or the brain or the thalamus, where the messages in from the outside or the lower part of the body goes into the brain. And hypothalamus is when the information goes out of the brain back to the organs itself, the lower part of the body. So it's consciousness. So look at this, it's 13, and then you look over here, it says beta. And then you have all kinds of information related to the frequency. You could be between 16 and 24. You could be 8. You can be, say, 18 or 20. It falls in, and then it has a certain type of information. So this one here is 16 to 24, associated with psychological arousal and response to threat. So if you get threatened and you react to that, the frequency can be in the beta 2 or 16 to 24 hertz. Now, you can go into this one here, it's beta 1 is 12 to 16 hertz right here. And it has alertness, concentration, cognitive awareness, wide awake, and so forth. You can go all and down the line. Okay. Now, interesting enough, you have the next one, and you're going to bring it here. It's the alpha, which is the one that you want for meditations or sleep. Alpha. Okay, alpha, just meditation here. And it's 9 to 14 hertz. ACH is a neurotransmitter. The other one you saw, a neurotransmitter called dopamine. That's a neurotransmitter that falls in there. But it also affects a certain part of the brain. And mesocephalon is the middle section of the brain, right above the ear. Motor, nerve, relax, calming, meditation, creative, and visualization, right in here. And you'll see this pattern, as you see on a on the monitor. And then it means alpha, 8 to 12 hertz. Relaxation, excuse me, relaxation, right here, visualization, creativity, and you come in expanded awareness, creative energy and fears vanish, sense of peace and well-being, and you come down sense of peace and well-being again, a different level of hertz, deficient level of chronic pain and all stress-related disorder. Everybody likes to be in what we call the alpha stage, and that's why people meditate to get into the alpha stage, and that's 9 to 14 hertz. And ACH is acetylcholine, which is here, and that's to help you get into the more relaxed, less stressful alpha stage of 9 to 14 hertz. So we get into the next area, which is the theta, which is 4 to 8 hertz, and that's a gamma. That's a lot of stress going on in the system. It also falls in the middle section. So you look at the pattern here. It's a different pattern from what you saw on the last slide, which is here. You can see the alpha here. That's a relaxed state. You can see the pattern here. And then you see right in here is the gamma. And the gamma you can see right in here. And people take gamma tone for helping that stress area. And then it's also in the mesocephalon, in the middle section of the body. And you see it's for deep relaxation, meditation, problem scheming, all right, and sodium-potassium ratio again. That affects the gamma. And most technicians don't look at gamma. They'll look at the basic 4, which is dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine or catecholamines. They'll look at that particular and those four ones. Okay, so then you look at what it means. It's theta 4 to 8 hertz, meditation, okay, intuition, creativity, inspiration, helps with memory, heightened receptibility, gateway to learning a memory, has to do with memory. So people who are lacking this, there people are in the early dementia or late dementia stage and Alzheimer's, okay, or they might have Parkinson's in the dopamine area, okay. Okay, so now dominant, prevalence, excessive, associated with psychological states, delusions, and other states associated with poor reality testing, and with seizure disorders, may be excessive in the head injuries, trauma. So these are the areas you have to look at. 5 hertz, sleep replacement, and you go on way down the list. Now you get into the next area, which is the serotonin area. Okay, serotonin area. People are depressed and sleep. So look at this here. See the patterns? It's a little different right here. You see that? And it says delta 1 to 3 hertz. So you see all the different hertz. The higher hertz you go, you have the different kinds of pattern and behavior reactions. Okay, mesencephalon, again, it's this middle part of the brain. Deep dreariness and sleep, serotonin. So you come back here, it's a delta, and it's 0.5. You see 0.5 hertz to 4 hertz. Detached awareness, healing, gateway to learning and memory, sleep, affects your sleep patterns, access to unconscious activities, again sleep, access to unconscious activities. Well, why is it repeated like that? Because we have there certain types of hertz that fall on the, maybe instead of right here, you see right here, it says 0.5 to 4, but you might be just 2 hertz. And 2 hertz may be, affects the activity right here, activity unconsciousness, might be 2 hertz instead of, say, 0.5. So you have the range, see, 0.5 to 1.5, right here, to 1.5 is pain relief. And 1 hertz is hair growth. So all you people bald, like me, okay, might have something in the use that electrodes on the head and the hair, and try to stimulate hair growth by putting on 1 hertz. And they have that. If people are using lasers now, they're using lasers to try to get hair to grow, and they're using the 1 hertz hair frequencies. 1.5 helps chronic fatigue and insomnia relief. Begin 2.5 to 3.5 hertz, 10 minutes, then delta frequency for 30 minutes. See, so that's actually like a treatment right in here. A treatment right in here. And pituitary release of growth hormones. And then you see right here, 3 to 4 hertz influence physical visions, okay, the eyes. So if you come back to the last one here, it's called gamma. Gamma is for learning. And you can see right here the hertz. But you can see right up here, you don't see anything, but you're going to see the 40 hertz. So you won't see any patterns in here. You'll see that. And proencephalon, forebrain, thalamus, hypothalamus, motor. So it's found in the front part of the brain. And you see 40 hertz, learning, high-level information processing. You see 40 to 6 anti-lytic effects and stimulus release of beta endorphins. And you come down here and you can see that it doesn't have very much more. So that's why most of the technicians do look at gamma. Gamma, it's 40 hertz, which is a higher one. See, most of them are lower. You can be down, but all of a sudden it's 40 and above, 40 hertz. So, so anyhow, so come back to me. And so what we're going is we're going through different parts. So now I have actually put a chart together like this. You can see the chart. And it gives me sort of a cheat sheet. So when I look at a scan that I do, and you see it falls into different hertz, okay, I can understand what's happening to your body. See? I can happen with your body just by doing the biofeedback. Now, if I don't have a biofeedback, I have another type of equipment. It's called the LSA Pro, and it gives me all the different hertz, which is the frequencies, and I can go ahead and look at that, and I sort of can figure out basically where your brain is being discordant or is not bringing in the right signals. And I will find out from your behavior pattern what it is, and I can use the sound like I did before. And I showed you in the last show about the sound. I can resonate that sound in a different frequencies by adjusting my voice, or I can get an instrument that can bring that hertz there and resonate that into the brain. And once you get into that part where you're peaceful and calm, you would resonate on the voice every time you get a behavior pattern, behavior stress, or behavior relaxation, or behavior depression. I can resonate that into a particular area where I can see, and now if I have a measuring device like the biofeedback or neurofeedback, I can see if these are actually creating the hertz or the pattern that I want to do it. Now, if I can keep your voice and keep your brain to be in that same frequency level, I can start to see some improvement in your behavior or in your new concept, very new concept, because everybody's now always gravitating to what's already been there called biofeedback equipment. I used to have that, biodata, all these different equipment. I don't need that. But if you're a specialist, you might want to use that. And that's like a training device. So we're going to be training the person how to use simple kind of things at home, different areas. They get stressed out. They go to that pattern of singing, go to the pattern of phraseology, even the words. Each word has a certain frequencies. And you can place that words in a different section of beta, theta, alpha, and use the resonance of your voice, the me, the ah, in that sequence, and all of a sudden you start to feel better. And if you train your brain, because that's the hardest part, is getting you to do discipline. Do it yourself. And do the exercise. If you do the exercise all the time, do we see a measurable improvement in your behavior, in your actions, in your energy patterns, in your organs start to improve? All you people recovering from some type of disorder, then can we actually teach you and you do it daily throughout the day, not once a day or twice a day, maybe daily, and you put in your vocabulary as these words, you do it. And those words, a lot of the words, believe it or not, you'll be finding, if you're look at the Bible, these words can be found in the passage of Luke. And you know who Luke was? He was a physician who was a disciple of Jesus Christ, working for him. But interesting enough, you see in the scriptures itself, you see a passage of page where you see Luke put the positive words and the contra words on it. I don't want to say bad words, there's no, the positive words and the contra words. And now you use those words, place it in the right frequencies, use it in vocabulary. So now you would replace those words in your vocabulary. So you take it 1 or 2 words a week and you use that particular word that makes you feel good, that makes you resonate in the brain. And it could be in a section of me, ah, or get an instrument and find out if it's a harp or it's a flute or wind chimes or any. And that sound will trigger off the brain into that particular pattern that you feel good at and you feel positive. So, so what you would do is change and use a particular word per day every day in your vocabulary until you actually automatically in your vocabulary use those words. And then the next week, you take another set of words, 1 or 2 words, if you want. Start slow and build up. And you might take another set of words and build your vocabulary there. Build on the last week words and try to, first of all, you're going to start thinking. And that's stressful, okay? So instead of thinking, you do the word repeatedly over and over. It could be in a jingle, and all of a sudden you're going to notice that even if you're not saying anything, the mind's going. And so let's take an example. Mary had a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb, and all of a sudden you're walking around, and all of a sudden the jingle goes in your mind. Mary had a little lamb, and you see, if you get the words right, it makes you feel better, makes you go. And so you will overcome some of the negative thought patterns in your brain, replace it with the right positive thought patterns, and you build every week. You build 1 or 2 words, 1 or 2 words. Do it very slowly. And then pretty soon your vocabulary becomes filled with these resonant words, the words. And you can keep it within a certain pattern and frequencies. And then all of a sudden you can go to a biofeedback if you want to get measured, or the equipment we use, called the Zyto, LSA Pro Zyto, and you check it, and you're all of a sudden, wow. And is the organs responding? Besides nutrition, besides exercise, there's a mental part, and there's an emotional part. And if you, excuse me, if you go on and start to check on that, okay, then, excuse me, then you will notice that these words will start to ring in your brain. And even you can actually feel the vibrations in different parts of your body. How? Because as you ring that, you close your eyes, and it's called visualization. That, if you understand, each of these frequencies has color to it. Could be red, which is more energetic on the body. Could be green, which is more healing towards the heart. Maybe yellow, which is around the navel area. Or the orange, which is in your genital area. Or the throat's blue, or up here is violet or lavender. All of a sudden you address those colors, and even some people get these oils, petroleum is on the top, or you get lavender, and you have that. And each of these colors represent, these oils represent a different color, and each of that has a frequency. So you want to help yourself, you breathe, and what you do is you say that, and all of a sudden it makes the brain enact what you're trying to deliver in your organs. And then basically, do you feel better? Say, and you're doing it with your own volition. You're doing with your own, you're taking the in charge back to yourself with your own therapy, and for longevity and wellness. So if you teach you how to do that, and you do it, you can actually see objectively on a measurable instrument, if it measures the brain biofeedback, if it measures the different body components. And you can see that. And what does it prove? Objectively, it would give you good data that will substantiate what you're doing it's good. And subjectively is how you feel, and you can emote that, you can bring it out in sound, emotions, and everything. So that's a great way to do, excuse me, to do your self-healing, all right? And so people recovering from cancer, or people recovering from surgery and all that. Great thing to learn. Very simple once you learn the concept. And if you do it, you got to do it now. Because if you don't do it, nothing happens. You got to do it. And if you do it, guess what? You'll be really elated, and because you're going to feel good. And here's the way you're going to feel good. right up in here, the brain. So now, we've gone through all these. My previous show about sound transfer. Now we're giving you concepts of how the brain works with brain frequencies, okay, and brain wave frequencies. Now, so anyhow, go to my website, drjohnchar.com, drjohnchar.com. You can go down to my Facebook, go down to my Twitter, easy articles. It's all there in Google. Look me up, and you will see some more information, and we'll go from there. So on the next show, we're going to continue this crusade to help energize your brain and your body to take better care of yourself. All right? See you in the next show.